Hey everybody, it is day 40 of spiritual healthcare. It's crazy. This is day 40. Can you believe it? We've been doing this for that long. We are now, I guess, into month number 2, which is just awesome. And you guys have been the fuel for what has been generating all of this great content, and all of our discussions and your emails and everything, all your messages have really helped to make this all happen. Good morning, Patricia. Good morning, Arnold. It's nice to see you guys. Good morning, everybody. It is always awesome to be able to do this every day. So thank you guys so much for all of this, because as I say, we wouldn't be doing this without you. I mean, this group has become so amazing. Good morning, Michael. Good morning, everybody. It is so nice to see you guys this morning. We've got some really good topics. And I'm really actually pretty stoked about this, because we've got some really interesting things to discuss around not only the number 40, which has got some significance and some questions for you guys, and the Ouija board as well. We've got to talk about that. So good morning, Marge. Good morning, Mark. Good morning, Dawn. Good morning, everyone. It is so good to see you. It is the big 4-0, as Mark is saying in the chat. Yes, it is. It's amazing that this has been 40 of these. This is crazy. Soon, soon it's going to be like, 100 of them. It's crazy. It's amazing. I've got some really awesome things in the works for you guys right now, to do with spiritual healthcare, to make sure that we can maintain the community, maintain the coursework, maintain all of that for you guys long after the pandemic is done and quarantine's done and all of that. So it's going to be really, really great. Good morning, Gregory. Isn't it? Good morning, Marge. It's nice to see you guys. It's always so awesome to see everybody in the morning. As I say, we've got lots of cool subjects today, talking about, as I say, the number 40, and what it signifies within the world and culture and numerology and all of those things, as well as, what effects people have found that 40 days can have on themselves, on their world. What does it mean? What has it meant through history? As well as the Ouija board. We've got some really interesting facts about the Ouija board that I just discovered this morning. So I want to cover some of that too. Good morning, Shadow. It's so good to see you guys. It's so awesome. I love to watch you guys all logging in the morning. It is just so much fun. And as I say, I'm really looking forward to being able to expand what we do here into a brand new program. So that is slowly getting rolled out as I'm working along here. So I've got some pretty cool content that's going to be in it. I think you guys are really going to dig it. It's going to be really blast. So good morning, Des. Happy birthday. It is Dez's birthday, everybody. So wish him a happy birthday. And I just wanted to thank you all for being so unbelievably supportive of spiritual healthcare. It has been I felt so privileged to be able to do this every morning, and to have you guys respond in such an incredible way. It's just fantastic. Shadow says it's nice. It's 80 in Austin right now. It's nice here too. It's sort of cloudy, I guess. We're going to be nice today, though, as well. We've got really warm weather this afternoon, so I'm hoping to be able to, at least open the windows and stuff like that. Make sure you guys are opening your windows, because having that stuffy air, that's no fun. Good morning, Brandy. It is nice to see you guys. I can't wait to delve into this today. I really can't. So the number 40, beginning with that. And its implications throughout history. So this is crazy. We are in such an incredible time right now. Because 40 throughout history has been really significant, not only in number of religions and cultures and whatnot, but also in practices. And I find this really interesting that, now we as a group have hit this hallmark of 40 with spiritual healthcare. And when we start to look at what it means, we start to see a pattern of transformation, of transmutation, for example, in things like alchemy, in We see it in the Christian Bible. We see it in Muslim traditions. We see it in also all over the world. The number 40 has been really, really significant. And so, like, when we look at it, it becomes even more significant in terms of the current quarantine that we're in. The bubonic plague, when it hit Europe, so get a load of this, you guys. When it hit Europe, the ships that were coming in, because of course they couldn't unload, right? Because of course the same issue that we're having here with COVID-19, they would actually be docked for 40 days. They were required to dock for 40 days, and they had to be in isolation for 40 days on quaranta, which is the fundamental word for quarantine. So 40 is a very interesting number right now. And, we look at it throughout our world. Women are usually pregnant for about 40 weeks. Cleaning stuff up and writing yourself, like internally before the process of transmutation in alchemy, for instance. We look at things like the Christian Bible, and Moses and Elijah and Jesus all fasted for 40 days. The Israelites wandered the desert for 40 days. Ezekiel laid on his right side for 40 days to bear the burden of Judea's sins. All sorts of crazy things. So when we start to look at number 40 in all of these different areas of the world and areas of life, we start to see this pattern. But every single time, it's this event of isolation, of being able to take a step back, to be able to look into who we are, and prepare for something new. And that's the difference, is that for, a lot of people, I think, are struggling with the idea that, we are, we're isolated. A lot of people are bored. They're eating more. They're stuck on video games, all that kind of thing. And Corey's saying, yeah, the Noah's rain lasted for 40 days and nights. Exactly. So there's so many references throughout history, and every single time and not only history, but as I say, within our own experience, every single time that has happened, it seems to be this period of something transforming into a new or brighter state of awakening. And I think this is important for us to really get and understand this, because when we look at what's currently happening in the state of things that are moving along and transforming and creating this basically this world that we're being born into, that is going to change in some way, shape, or form, we have this great opportunity to try to figure out not only what do we want this to look like, because everybody's saying, we want this to go back to normal, and I disagree. I don't think this is a time to go back to normal. I think this is a time to start to decide what normal we want. What do we want it to look like? Not only for the rest of the world, but what do we want it to look like for ourselves? What is that? So I think we've got this fantastic opportunity right now where the world is on pause. And we get to take a hard look at what it is we're doing. What parts of normal do we want? And do we want to move forward? And what parts of normal are past normal can we just get rid of? Can we move forward from? How can we do this? In alchemy, it's very interesting because transfiguration, for those of you guys who watched, of course, the Harry Potter series, which I love, and we know Professor McGonagall was the professor at Hogwarts for transfiguration, and it was the ability to magically in that movie transform yourself into animals or into another state of being. But in alchemy, it was more than that. It was a transformation from the inside out, and they would go through a 40-day period of being able to be still, have sort of this period of cleansing, of healing, of doing that emotional work. And what's interesting is that more people right now, are coming out, realizing that their place is haunted. We've had a lot of that. People realizing that there's stuff going on in their homes that they didn't realize was going on. which is interesting. So a lot of people are finding this time period to not only get reconnected with themselves, but reconnected with that non-physical side of things. What is going on? And noticing these little bits and pieces of that non-physical world, and understanding and realizing that we are not these solid shapes and forms, and we're rigid and all of that, like what we tend to think we are. So it's interesting because both the virus and things like hauntings, things that we can't see, that are kind of in the unknown, are really beginning to challenge our egos. They're really beginning to challenge our egos, and they're beginning to challenge what Eckhart Tolle calls the pain body, which almost acts like a separate entity, that sense of ourselves that just doesn't want to heal up. It doesn't want to heal. It's going to fight you tooth and nail. And we've all got one. We've all got one, and we can heal it up as best we can. But I think it's activating a lot of that, which is, of course, stimulating, some negative hauntings at the same time. So it's interesting because we have this opportunity right now to really come into and decide what it is we want to be. Well, how do we want to transform? What relationship with non-physical do we want to establish and build? And this is a pretty cool opportunity, because normally we're super busy. We're super busy with work. We're in a hurry. We've got deadlines. We're going out for lunch and dinner and blah, 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 and there's parties and whatever. And, this has really taken a lot of this stuff off the table, and we're able to turn around and sit down and go, hey, wait a minute. What is it that we want to rebuild and work on? And a lot of people don't want to do that. They really don't. Arnold's saying, I'm an inspiration for his daughter, Hannah. Thank you, Hannah. Thank you so much. Love to you, Hannah. I so appreciate that. And so, yeah, I think when, we really get this amazing opportunity right now to get in touch with what's going on. And, we're seeing, unfortunately, a big spike in things like domestic violence, and we're seeing the big spike in abuse and things like that going on. So we've got this other side of things. But what I've noticed is that the people that were experiencing dysfunction before the pandemic, before it started, things that weren't healed up, the things that weren't being dealt with, whether it be debts or finances or, toxic relationships or anything like that. What we're seeing now is that all of these things are kind of bubbling to the surface, because there's not really a way anymore of being able to pat it down and ignore it, or, go out and escape it. And negative hauntings are falling into that same category, where people aren't being able to, I'm just going to go to work and forget about it for a number of hours. They're being forced to sit down and really start to think about what is going on. What is going on in my life? What is happening? And making these really important decisions, moving ahead, as to how we want this to look, and taking that ownership of how we want it to look. So it's not just words. It's not just, talking about a future goal or a future plan. Things are coming to the surface right now in a way where people are really having to start to look at, well, hold on, wait a minute. How is it that my life is really working? And I think that's something that, as we kind of move forward throughout this process, this 40 days, and today, as I say, we've hit 40 days. We've got an opportunity here to be able to sit down and start to decide, what do you want to transfigure into? What is this? What is it? Did you want to learn something? Is your life working? If you've got some sort of, a negative haunting going on or something like that, how are you dealing with that? What are you doing? And understanding that haunting, that negative haunting, is absolutely a reflection, right, of what we've got going inside. It always is. And on the flip side of that, if you've got this amazing connection with non-physical, this fun, joyful, playful relationship with, whether it be with a spirit in your house or whether it be with, just the universe in general, How can we then use that and move that relationship forward? How can we improve on that? So all different questions that you guys can start to ponder and ask yourself, which is the process that I want to give you guys today before we get into Ouija boards. And the process that I want to offer you guys is to start to think about this as an opportunity to begin to move into this brand new arena, because it is going to be new in a lot of ways. Just like in, when we had, in America, of course, they had the disaster of 9/11, and things changed. Things changed at the airport, security measures changed, and we're going to see something very similar, once things start to move forward, with this quarantine and the pandemic and things like that. We're going to have to rewrite things and begin to use this as an opportunity to start to improve how we're treating each other, how we're doing these things. And it is just absolutely so important. Bernie says that she agrees the pandemic is affecting so many on a spiritual level. Absolutely. Hugs back to you, by the way. It's absolutely true. It's this fantastic opportunity. And what's interesting, and this is something I was actually reading today, is the fact that the use of Ouija boards has skyrocketed. So they're sold out on Amazon, apparently. People are digging them out of their back closets and cupboards and all sorts of things. And I thought this was a really interesting development, because I think people are now beginning to want that communication, and they're trying to find ways of doing it. And of course, people are, they're gravitating to what they remember. Things like the Ouija board as a kid, or, sittings and scrying and all sorts of things like that. And a lot of people really put down the whole Ouija board thing. They really do. And they've gotten such a negative rap over the years. But you know what? It's interesting. It's really no different than EVP, or electronic voice phenomenon in many ways, in terms of its uses. Of course, there's lots of controversy about whether it's, works, or whether it's, state of mind or whatever. People's, sympathetic nervous system reacting to the planchette and things like that. But here's the thing about Ouija or anything else. It really does come back to what your state of being is when you're approaching your communication with anything that is non-physical in nature. It really does. It all depends on where your state of being is at. So, if you're feeling happy, you're feeling joyful, you're feeling passionate and excited and all of those things, that's the time. That's the time to turn around and do something like that. To sit down and meditate and reach out in that way to whatever it is for you, whether it be, angels or God or spirits or, whatever term you have for it. Allow yourself to get into that good state of mind, so that whatever you're receiving, whatever you're in that receiving place of, you're getting this great vibrational match back. It really makes all the difference in the world. Most people, when they approach something like the Ouija board or something like that, or communication like that in general, they're oftentimes missing somebody. They're grieving. They're frightened. They're scared of it. They're all of these things. So wherever you are emotionally, you're gonna get that energy right back to you. Always. There's been some amazing recorded communication with things like the Ouija board, amazing channeling sessions that have been done over the years. And, when people think that, people negate that, and, they hear of all these terrifying experiences, and then they write it off. But I find it's really intriguing how all of a sudden you've got this increase in people looking for that relationship with non-physical and things like that. It is, I think, really, really important to be able to find that connection. And I think that's a lot of what we really at this point have the opportunity to do. We've got this time period, where we've just been through the 40 days of isolation. We've just been through, this time period together where we have had to relook at ourselves. We've had to relook at the world, how we've been operating in the world. And we've got this amazing opportunity to be able to take a really hard look and score of what's going on, and how much of that connection do we really have? What do we have? A lot of people I think are finding right now that, once all this crazy world is kind of stripped away, they're finding that they're not happy. They're finding that they're depressed. They're finding that they're upset. They're angry about stuff because there's nowhere to go to put a Band-Aid over that empty gas gauge anymore. We like to do that. We like to have a gas gauge on our dashboard and draw a happy face sticker and stick it on the gas gauge and pretend it's not empty, and we do that through all sorts of things by, keeping ourselves busy, or addiction, or going to work, or, just covering up the pain over and over and over again with all of these different things. And people use all sorts of stuff, like crazy men, we do whatever we can, food, sex, whatever, we pile it all on sometimes. And, all these people becomes a blanket for, not doing the work. It's like, if I'm doing this other thing, then I'm not focused on healing myself and trying to figure that out. So it's a really, really important thing. Shadow says she's so welcome a relationship with non-physical. It's so non-committal. It's a great match. Yeah, no kidding. It's funny because, it really is such an unconditional love. It really is. It's, and that's one thing that, people have found that have had this great relationship with positive hauntings and things like that, is that it is such a unconditional, acceptance and unconditional love. And, it's a beautiful, experience to be able to have with, whether it be a lost loved one or a friend, or, just a haunting that maybe you don't even know who the hell it is. You might not even know who the hell it is. But having these little things happen, and sometimes it's just that relationship with the universe, and it's really, really good. And Troy was saying earlier that he is feeling really depressed, and Patricia's saying, admitting it and saying so is a really brave act. Absolutely. Knowing where you are is the absolute first step in all of this. It really is not covering it up, just owning where you are. Because let me tell you, here's the great thing. The universe is kind of like GPS. It really doesn't care where you've been. It doesn't care. All it cares is where you are and your route between where you are and where you want to go. That's all it cares. It doesn't care where you've been. And, once you can own and identify what it is that's going on, what it is, where you are, and there's nothing wrong with it. Don't beat yourself up about it. Identify where you are, and then you can start to, use some of the tools that we've talked about on spiritual healthcare, or talked about just, you've learned or, read in books or whichever, and start to move that forward. Start to seek the healing and stop focusing on, what it is, what the problem is. Because our brains, we do this all the time. We get stuck in the problem. And as soon as we're so focused on the problem, the solution evades us. It just evades us. We're just, the vibration of the problem is not the vibration of the solution. It's way out of range of each other. So sometimes we'll end up getting sort of stuck on that problem. And we see this with clients and things like that all the time as well, because, people get stuck on the activity. They get stuck on the activity that's going on, and it moves them away from the well-being that they could be focused on, right? We've got a major challenge with that for the pandemic right now, because we are being challenged to focus in a way that we have not been before. And, we're about to maneuver into the next 40 days of this. But this, I really think today, we can take this as a time of shifting and awakening and moving forward into this next progression. As we're seeing, some parts of the world that are forming strategy plans to reopen. A lot of people have lost jobs, they've lost work, they've lost a lot of, their income, a lot of what their normal used to be. and we get to strategize in a new way and decide and spend the time, with the people that we want to spend the time with, and not taking things for granted. That's the other thing about, where we are right now, is that we have this opportunity to stop taking things for granted and stop taking from other people, because that's been a thing that I've noticed over especially the last, I don't know, 5 years or so, is that we've really become a culture often of taking and expecting, and having false expectations and all of these different things of being able to take and take from our world, and sometimes from the people around us, and not realize that, how much are we offering? Can we fill ourselves up enough to be able to offer something back? What can we do? How are we using our life? Are you being of service? And we're seeing such a brilliant showing of people in service right now. It blows my mind every time I turn on the news, CTV or whatever, and it's like you see all of these people moving on and moving forward and stepping up and helping. It's absolutely incredible. So that being said, I've got a great reading for us this afternoon from the wonderful Eckhart Tolle. And I thought this was really, really relevant. The book is Oneness with All Life. It is selections from A New Earth. And I wanted to read you guys this little bit because I thought it was absolutely really, really, really key. This is super cool. Take 2 or 3 conscious breaths. Now see if you can detect a subtle sense of aliveness that pervades your entire inner body. Can you feel your body from within, so to speak? Sense briefly specific parts of your body. Feel your hands, then your arms, feet, and your legs. Can you feel your abdomen, chest, neck, and head? Is there life in them? Then become aware again of the inner body as a whole. You might want to close your eyes initially for this practice, and once you can feel your body, open your eyes, look around, and continue to feel your body at the same time. You might find there is no need to close your eyes, that you can in fact feel your inner body as you read this. Ego arises when your sense of beingness, an I am, which is formless consciousness, gets mixed up with form. This is the meaning of identification. This forgetfulness of being is the primary error. And I love that. I love that because this is the time. This is the time for that. It's exactly right. This is the time. And Bernie's saying that she believes that the pandemic encompasses what some were looking for: a break from everything, a chance to reset, have some downtime. And the sad part is the loss of life. Absolutely, And it really is. It goes back to what I was saying about taking this stuff for granted. Because we tend to do that. We forget. As people, we get super busy and we forget about this stuff, and we forget about, the idea that we can, we can lose what we have. We forget that, and we forget that we've got people around us that, need that attention, or, need that focus, and just ourselves as well. We forget that. So I wanted to give you guys a really fun to-do today. That I thought was really, really cool, because I'm a little biased about this. So this coming month, Haunted Magazine is coming out with its next issue, number 26. I'm super excited. I'm a little biased, as I say, about this, because my article will be in it. I write for Haunted Magazine every single month, or like it comes out quarterly, so whatever that works out to. But I send them in articles and things like that. So I've got an article in this upcoming issue about exorcism, the history of exorcism and what that looks like, and what it means for us, and things like that. And before I talk about that, Trey wants to know where he can find the book. The book should be on Amazon or anywhere else. It's a fantastic book. It's called Oneness with All Life by Eckhart Tolle. It should be at Chapters or anywhere else, bookstores, Barnes and Noble, stuff like that. So Haunted Magazine, as I say, they have a really, really great selection of authors and writers and all sorts of things. And you guys, if you don't have a subscription to it, they also have an app where you can read the last number of issues for free. So if you download the Haunted Magazine app, you'll be able to get it and be able to see the new issue eventually as well. But you can also go to haunteddigitalmagazine.com and subscribe to it there as well. It's such a great magazine. My good friend Richard Estep writes for it as well, who you guys see on Haunted Hospitals and Paranormal 911. There's just a plethora of authors, Penny Griffiths Morgan and Katie Waller and all sorts of people who are just like, they're just on top of stuff, and their photography is amazing. Paul Stevenson and A.E. Soar do just a fantastic job of putting it together. They're beautiful magazines every month. So that's available, as I say, for subscription. And if you can't afford it, then the app is available for free, which is always good. So I wanted to pass that on to you guys if you want some like really crazy investigation stories and articles and ghost stories and all sorts of stuff like that. It's really, really cool. It's really, really neat. Trey wants to know for autograph requests. Yeah, definitely. As I say, eventually I'm getting in a bunch of copies of my book, which you guys can grab too for signing and stuff like that. I don't know how we're going to sign the magazines. I have no idea. I'll have to figure that out. I will think about it and figure that out, because I don't know. They come from the UK. They don't come from me. So I have no access to them before they all go out. So anyway, everybody, health affirmations, because we have to go into the day with the right energy. So important to keep our vibrations high, keep focused on that well-being and wellness, and not be bombarded with news and the crazy amounts of news. There's so much news about this stuff that it gets a little overwhelming. So make sure you're getting the facts. But don't get bombarded with it. It's too much. Health affirmations, you guys, we got to do it. So everybody take a breath. It is natural for my body to be well. Even if I don't know what to do in order to get better, my body does. I have trillions of cells with individual consciousness, and they know how to achieve the individual balance. When this condition began, I didn't know what I know now. I don't need to understand the cause of this illness. I only have to gently, eventually release this illness. It doesn't matter how it got started, because it's reversing its course right now. And there's no hurry about any of this. My body knows what to do. Well-being is natural to me. My inner being is intricately aware of my physical body. My cells are asking for what they need in order to thrive, and Source is answering those requests. I'm in very good hands. My only work is to relax and breathe, and I can do that easily. Everybody take a breath. Thank you guys so much for another amazing spiritual health care. I know Patricia was writing in the comments about a gratitude journal. Absolutely. If you guys don't have one, they are available on the Entity Seeker page as well. If you guys don't have a book or anything like that, they're if you go to the Entity Seeker Facebook page store or the entityseeker.ca store, you guys can grab gratitude journals there too. And they've got some great quotes on the front from my the channeling sessions that my great-great-grandfather did as well, which are super positive and are good reminders of everything. So those are available for you guys if you want them. Thank you so much. Thank you for all you guys do. Please keep sending in more questions. Please keep sending in more topics that you want to cover. There's so much. And let's go into this next 40 days of growth and rebirth and all of what we're doing, and with the idea that this is opportunity. This is opportunity, you guys. Let's grab this and grab the upswing and see where we can take it, because it's going to be amazing. It's going to be amazing. So thank you guys. Tomorrow 10 a.m. right here, 10 a.m. Mountain Time, spiritual healthcare every day. So come back, come join me, share it. People invite people, let them know what's going on. We've got so much, so as I say, so many things to cover. If you guys are looking for the past classes, youtube.com/entityseeker. All the classes are up there. So if you guys want to go back on something or rewatch it or anything like that, they are all on YouTube. And they are also on entityseeker.ca, which is, of course, the official site. And they're all in the video section. So regardless, you guys can go back on them. And you know, if you're looking for a book or something like that, they're all there. So thank you guys so much. And I will see you all tomorrow morning on day 41. So goodbye, everybody. Have a great day.